If a student tells you they have a herniated disc in their lower back, what's your immediate thought? Is it, this is serious, this is a spinal injury, and I don't want to make it worse? Should they even be in my class? And if you feel like this is something that you can't handle in your classes and you just resort to telling them to do what feels right, then this is the video for you. I'm Monica, and I help yoga teachers build confidence working with students who have pain using modern pain science principles. Today, let's talk about how to teach students with herniated discs, what they actually are, which movements to be thoughtful about, what practical modifications you can offer, and why different styles of yoga might be exactly what these students need. By the end of this video, you're going to feel like, okay, I can actually teach these students. First, I'm not going to lie, herniated discs do require thoughtful teaching, but you don't have to be afraid because understanding what's happening and offering intelligent modifications is completely within your capacity and your scope of practice. A herniated disc happens when the tough outer layer of the disc between your vertebrae develops a tear and the softer inner material bulges out. This can sometimes press on nearby nerves, causing pain, numbness, or tingling down the leg. Now, here's the pain science piece. Many people have herniated discs visible on an MRI, but no symptoms at all. And another person can have significant pain with a relatively small herniation. Why? Because pain is a protective output from the brain. It's not just about the structural state of the disc. Yes, there is a structural issue, but the pain experience is influenced by stress, sleep, fear about the injury, and beliefs about what the spine can handle and what it cannot. So when you teach, you aren't helping them protect a disc that's damaged. You're helping create environments where their nervous system feels safe enough to explore movement. When a student tells you they have a herniated disc, here's what you can say. Thank you for letting me know. That's really helpful information. Ask when it happened and if they're working with anyone. Ask about symptoms, ask what movements aggravate it. They might tell you that it's forward bending or twisting, and then confirm that you'll offer modifications throughout class. You're gathering information and confirming modifications. This is your job as a yoga teacher. Generally, be cautious with deep spinal flexion, especially when the spine is both rounding forward and bearing weight. Forward folds where the student is rounding their spine warrant modification because flexion increases pressure on the disc. Be thoughtful about rotation combined with flexion. Twisting while the spine is rounded can create shearing forces, so think flexion and rotation at the same time. Extension or back bends can actually feel okay for many students because extension reduces pressure on the front of the disc where the herniations commonly occur, but everybody is different. And reduce impact and compression when possible. So jumping or sudden movements might also not feel good for your student. Also, not every student with a herniated disc should be in a vinyasa flow class. A student with acute disc herniation who's experiencing nerve pain might benefit much more from restorative yoga than from trying to modify through an entire flow class. Restorative yoga will allow them to explore gentle, supported positions for extended periods, and this gives their nervous system a chance to calm down, which actually can reduce their perception of pain. Yin yoga can also be valuable in later stages of recovery. Longer holds in moderate ranges help students maintain movement practices without triggering protective responses. Pranayama and meditation practices offer tremendous value because they directly address the nervous system. Remember, pain is influenced by stress and fear, so teaching breathing practices that help students shift into a parasympathetic state or meditation that helps them relate to sensation differently can be just as therapeutic as physical poses. So when a student tells you they have a herniated disc, one option is inviting them to explore different styles of yoga entirely. You could say, given what you're experiencing, you might find restorative class or breath work class really supportive right now. Those practices can help calm your nervous system, which often helps with pain. This reframe also helps students understand that yoga isn't just asana. There are many ways to practice yoga. Now, let's talk about modifications. In forward folds, invite them to keep length in the spine rather than rounding. Cue them to bend their knees generously, use blocks, or take more supportive versions with their hands on a chair or a wall if those are accessible. For downward facing dog, offer puppy dog pose or tabletop or hands on a wall. If they're in downward facing dog, you can encourage them to create more length through their spine. For twists, invite them to pause and not push for the deepest rotation and avoid flexing the spine in the twist as well. For back bends, start gently. Teach options like supported bridge with a block, a gentle cobra, or sphinx pose. For core work, teach a neutral spine rather than deep crunching, right? Teach plank variations, side plank, bird dog. Build stability without potentially aggravating your students' discs. Okay, these modifications are pretty straightforward. What often matters more is the language that you use in class. Resist saying, if you have a bad back, don't do forward folds. That reinforces damage and increases a protective response. Instead, say, if deep forward folding doesn't feel good for you today, or if you're noticing sensitivity in your lower back right now, practice this other option. These are temporary descriptors that don't make them feel like their spine is permanently compromised. Avoid saying things like, this will protect your disc. Instead, say, this variation reduces demand on your lower back. And normalize modifications. Many students with disc sensitivity find that keeping length in the spine feels better. Teach them to use blocks as an intelligent modification. Now, it's important to know when you are veering outside of your scope of practice, so encourage students to get an evaluation if they haven't been formally diagnosed, especially with new and severe symptoms. Refer them out if they're experiencing significant nerve symptoms affecting walking or daily activities. And in the acute phase with severe pain, they will likely need rest and medical treatment before taking a group yoga class. You can work with students who have herniated discs, but you have to know when yoga isn't enough and they need more. Remember, students with herniated discs can practice yoga safely when you're thoughtful about modifications. Be cautious with deep flexion and rotation combined with flexion. Consider inviting them to explore restorative, yin, pranayama, meditation. Use language that reduces threat and know when to refer out. The more informed and intentional you are about learning to help these students, the more confident you'll feel when you're teaching in class. I have a free resource called Sequencing for Different Injuries that helps you structure classes when you have students with different types of injuries in them. I'll link it in the description below. I also have a full podcast episode on this topic that goes deeper into pain science, different yoga styles for disc issues, and when to refer out. I'll link that below as well. And if you want ongoing support working through students with herniated discs and other injuries, my Teaching Students with Injuries mentorship is 6 months with 2 calls per month. We work through real students with real situations. Link in the description for more information on that. And subscribe for more evidence-based teaching strategies. And remember, you can absolutely work with students who have herniated discs, and I'm here to help you.